Let's all sing song of the beloved of us all of Vaigu. Such Mangal Gavo Tampra Pavo, Sohilada Vichaar. When you sing these two joyful songs, only then you can achieve God. So celebration and joy, Anand is always a big part of it also. If you talk to people who are into Simran, they talk about their experience. The top things they talk about is Anand and Pyar. Those are kind of two central emotions that are part of Bhakti, part of Simran. Rabda, Pyar, Anand, Man. Vaigu is always in joy. And as you get closer to him, you feel that same bliss, that same joy. So Anand is always very central to the experience with God also. So such Mangal Gao, Tapra Pavo, Sohilada Vichaar. These are the songs of celebration that are eternal. They are beyond time.
What does Mangal mean?
Mangal is a celebratory song. Mangal Gani means wedding or occasions of joy.
In the Japji Sal, the first thing they call it Mangal Charan. What is that?
Yeah, you start with this. You start with a celebratory kind of thing where you are doing an invocation. It's like an invocation in Mangal Charan. Even outside of Gurbani, when ragis, even in classical music, nothing to do with religion, when they start some song, they go Mangal Charan at first, they do some kind of an invocation. And I think Sab can tell us more. It's the part you do without the beat. First they sing without any beat, they sing something. Usually it's a different thing, one or two lines. Some of them just do and allow, some do.
Even during walk.
Yeah, you can see it singing.
Like Mood Mantra is always mostly Mangal Charan Mood Mantra. जब कोई चीज़ स्टार्ट करनी एक ओंकार सतगुरु प्रसाद alone is
Mangal Charan also. So it's starting off with some holy invocation before you start something.
Start with the good wishes basically.
Apne ghar aaya, thaan suhaya, and this place is become beautiful because my husband is entering it, the divine spouse is entering my home, so my home is blessed and beautiful. Karaj Shabads Savare, the divine word is Karaj Savare, look at my translate karege, it makes everything perfect. My affairs are resolved is a bad translation. By the way, in these I have just taken the translation that's by Khalsa, what's his name? The English translation you see everywhere from and the Sant Singh Khalsa. So this is the Sant Singh Khalsa translation. So when I was doing the Asa Diwar, I was kind of reworking the translation and putting in my own. I haven't had time to do that. So the translations there are whatever are from Sant Singh Khalsa. Most of it's pretty good, but sometimes it's literal and not, doesn't quite get the essence of it. So my affairs have been resolved. I'm not a good translation. Karaj Savarna is everything's working out and things are good. It's more in the middle of that. So through the Shabad, my affairs have been resolved. I've been around for the divine word. And Gurbani is Shabad also. Gyan Maharas Nekri Anjan. So Gyan, divine knowledge, divine presence, or spiritual essence. And that is like lighting up my eyes, clarifying my vision. Gyan Maharas, this is the joy of the experience of the word, of divine knowledge. It's like an anjan. In India, the people put this black stuff in their eyes and it's supposed to clarify their eyes. It's called surma or anjan. Kajal. Exactly what anjan refers to. So this is the divine ointment coming to my eyes. So my eyes are being opened. I'm getting divine awareness. That's what the eyes are referring to. With this divine kajal. Gyan Maharas Devti and then Tribhuvan Roop Vichaar. And through this I see the vision of things beyond this world that Tribhuvan, the three words meaning beyond the physical world, getting a transcendental vision. Sakhi Maloras Mangal. Comments anybody wants to add to that? Myself, is there any to this or elaboration on it?
तेरे भावना ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਓਵਰ ਡਿਟੇਲ ਚ ਕਰੀਗਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾਇਆ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਵੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਤੇ ਪਾਸਟ ਦੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਸੋਝੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਕਿਤੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ
beyond the world that
ਜਿਹੜੇ
ਜਿਹੜੇ
ਰੱਬ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਕਾਫੀ ਪੁਰਾਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਛਾ ਲੋੜ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਨਵੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਿਊਚਰ 10 15 20 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਬਣਦੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗਿਆਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਉਹ ਚਾਹਦੇ ਨੇ ਇੱਜ਼ਤ ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗਿਆਨ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਚੁੱਪ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣ ਸੋਝੀ ਕਰਨ
I think we can discuss later also, but जिस तरह तो सीखना कि मंगल गान वाला शब्द है because Vaigu Harvard the मंगल है पर एक पूरा एस्पेक्ट है गुरबानी का जिससे विराग का इतना इम्पोर्टेंस है and that is also not just विराग in a bad way. It is more like कि ਤੁਸੀਂ इनमें प्यार हो गए हो, इनमें अटैच हो गए हो, तो विराग हो गया है. So I think that I would be very much interested in elaborating on that कि वो की state हैगी है और how you achieve that. ये बड़े शब्द हैगे ने बाबा फरीदा जी दे और बड़े शब्द हैगे ने इस दे ऊपर.
Very briefly, that refers to when your love for God is so deep, you feel detached from the rest of the world, you're not interested in anything else.
And that is true. कई बार
Vichaar also refers to the pain of love. Also has a kind of pain associated with it.
Yes,
so
right.
it refers to that also.
क्योंकि कई बार वैसे बारी पड़ता है तो अखा आंसू आ जाते हैं कि you do get into that state little bit. मैं तो ज़्यादा नहीं होती है पर कई बार मैं notice किया कि तो अब automatically you feel like crying.
But you also full of joy. You also happier and lighter after that.
Yeah, right.
ये अपनी मन की अवस्था ना भी होता है कई बार कि एक इंसान बाणी में पढ़ के वो खुश है हर जन गुण गा हंसया और मंगल गाना वो खुशी के गीत गाने के होते हैं जिन्हें सोहला नहीं कहते सोहला रात में गाते हैं कई लोग सोहले को कैसे गीत समझता है और सोहले का मतलब खुशी दे गीत क्योंकि प्रभु का मिलाप हो रहा है तो खुशी दे गीत गाने कि उसको मिल रहा है ये ਹੁਣ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਦੋ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ ਮਨ ਦੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਉਹਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਬੈਰਾਗ ਲਿਆਉਂਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਬੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸੇਮ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ मैं एक बच्चे को कीर्तन सिखा रहा जब वो 3 साल छोटा है वो मेरे शब्द सिखा रहे तो कहते भाई साहब मैं बैराग का शब्द सिखाओ 3 मैं मेरी उम्र 16-17 साल होगी 14 साल का बच्चा है तो मैंने कहते भाई साहब बैराग का शब्द मैंने तो पता नहीं बैराग की होंगे उसको 15-16 साल के बच्चे की चीज़ पता है बैराग की चीज़ मसा बाड़ी पढ़नी शुरू की थी और मैं पोथी खोली उत्थे लिखा कि बैराग के शब्द जो सिखाने लगा वो भी तक पानी हो गई मैं समझ आया गल मैं शब्द पर तुक बड़ा दो तुका पढ़ा वो अखा एक्चुअली बैराग सी तो मैंने उस वे नहीं समझ में आया करो तेन तकलीफ है बड़ी तरह पेट दर्द हो रहा है गल है मम्मी डैडी ने कह रहे नहीं कहते तुम पूरा शब्द सुनाओ मैं सिखा उन्हें सिखा हूँ मैं जो मेरी मतलब एक्सपीरियंस होता है बड़ा होया तो हूँ मैं एक बीबी ने सिखाना कीर्तन तो वो कीर्तन टेप बनाई जिसने भी सुनया ना वो सारे बोल सकते कहते सब बैराग की आवाज़ वो भाव ने वो अंदर बैराग है ना जिसके अंदर जो जी अवस्था मन की बड़ी हुई है वो बाणी तो उस तरह ही एसेंस तो रस ले सकता है कोई खुश हो गया तो कोई बैराग देना तो बाणी का
Vichaar make a very good point. Different people as they go spiritually, they also have different. They experience it in different ways. Descriptions are different. You were talking about vision. Some people say expression that yeah, we've seen something. Other people hear music. Other people just feel joy and peace. So they describe it in different ways also. Let's move on to the next show. This was a good response. Leena, she's not actually here right now. Actually, I'll make some shabads about why grew as the bad. This one about it. So in this Shabad and a lot of other Shabads, God is referred to as the Vair, and Naam and Simran are like medicines that solve our rog, our different diseases. So God is the supreme physician, and but the diseases that He solves are not just physical diseases. That's in fact the smaller part of it. When the Guru refers to rog and refers to bad, he's talking even more about spiritual disease. about overcoming hunger and other pains of the spirit and the mind. Of course, spirit, mind, and body are all interlinked. And the physician works mainly on your spirit, but through that he works on your brain, and through that he works on your body as well. So it does actually appear at all levels. Tap, paps, and tap, they must say, it works at all levels. But the main guru's focus, when we think of it, our focus is mainly on disease because we want to get well. So we pray Kahara Road Guru, that's kind of the starting point. But the guru's main focus is from the other end, which is the spiritual diseases, overcoming wholeness of all. So this is kind of covers all of that here. You can think of it as Mirabha, Guru Govinda. And Guru and Govinda come together very often in Gurbani because firstly God himself is a Guru, because he himself sends his message in different ways. He leads himself through the saints, through the gurus, and so on. When the guru is so close to God that he's like God himself. There is no separation between them. He is human, you can't say. It's not like Murti Puja, it's not like incarnation or avatar in that sense, in the Hindu mythological sense. But it's in the sense that when the guru is talking to you, it's God talking to you through Gurbani. When you get the effect of getting of meeting the Guru and learning from him, you're really getting God's message itself. So in that sense, the Guru is God. So Guru and Guru together.
Both were interconnected on that. मुझे थोड़ा मंदा हो गया जिससे मन पता ठीक नहीं जीवन ठीक हो गया उसे automatically you get a better feeling, बड़ी health ठीक better लगती है. So it may be directly हमें मतलब काम के लोग नहीं better होता पर.
Absolutely. I'm saying it's all of them.
It's all
of them, absolutely. They're all interconnected, and but the primary focus of the Gurbani is the role of Hellman and the spiritual.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜ vices ਹੈਗੇ काम क्रोध लोभ.
So जन्म जन्म के दुख निवारे मेरा वैद गुरु गोविंदा और हर नाम अपर मुख लेवे. So this is the main treatment he gives you of the naam. He feeds you that मुख लेवे, काटे जम की फंदा, and he's in the process he's cutting away all your the biggest thing we have is fear of death, pain and suffering and everything is tied in with that. And through naam you transcend that. You get in touch with the eternal spiritual. Your soul is eternal, and you get that perspective. You get in touch with God and the soul, which are beyond death, beyond time, beyond the cycle. And naam also cuts away the effect of karma. It actually lets you transcend that law of karma. So you transcend all that and you overcome time and mortality and death, fear of death. So this is kind of
going back to that we spoke about coming so close to God that you almost becoming
the Guru.
That's a little troublesome because then you verge on the notion of avatar and God's incarnation or something. So it's a little nebulous.
Well, the problem with that is if you do it in the sense of making idol worship or that personal thing your entire focus of your religion and your practice, your spiritual practice, and you lose sight of the real thing, then it's a problem. But if it's love of Guru and devotion to Guru is taking you to God, so you can't see God himself. And how do you develop love for God? You develop love of God through somebody else who's loved God so much that by his touch, by being associated with him and getting that perception and those words and those ideas from him, you start loving God also. So that is there is a Sakhi by Veer Singh, he calls it Pyare da Pyara. I forget the details of it, Kis da Pyara hai, but he devoted to someone else. He says, the Guru loves God so much, and I love the Guru so much, so Pyare da Pyara hai. That's why it's so important to think of God, the Guru almost like God. That's the positive side. The negative side is what you are saying. If you start seeing that as more as a ritualistic thing around this one avatar, and you get lost in that and you lose the love of God, the one supreme being who's behind everything.
I was thinking independent of worship and think. Just the notion that the two identities are merging.
They are merging in the sense of the relationship with them, and what you're getting from. You're seeing God through the Guru, through his words. In that sense, they are merging. He's speaking, and the Guru speaks as God speaking to you, so they are merging in that sense, if you look at that. Now he's speaking in human language. There are all the limitations of human language. There's a cultural part of it. He has to use examples from this world because if the Guru is doing it, he's doing it in that context. But the essence, the spiritual essence, is the divine essence that comes from God himself. I don't know if I'm putting it well, but
isn't that the merging? Isn't that like a fundamental concept for in Sikhi that we also want to attain that same state?
yeah, in one sense, everything is God anyway.
But even between like good Parmeshwari ko jaan, right? Or so many times where
That's
it
what
comes
we're
that,
repeating, yeah, but from the Shari Pajan, exactly.
like that says recognize them as one and the same.
One and the same in that sense.
In that sense.
In the sense that you're seeing God in the Guru, that the divine presence is being revealed to you through the Guru.
Or
But God is everywhere, of course. He's not just in the Guru, he's in us also. Each of us is divine too. But we can't see that ourselves. No, we are not in touch. There is this parda of hormone. But the Guru doesn't have that parda. He's completely in touch with him. So through him we can experience God before we get to experience directly ourselves.
and then we can be like
Eventually we can get to that state.
Isn't there that Jinana Visre Naam Sekhne Hya and Pedna Jano Mool Sain Jehe? Right? So don't recognize the difference between them or
So he's saying about everybody, anybody who's in tune with Vaigu is that applies to them also. Those who practice Nam Simran and get to that stage, you can say the same about them as well. There's no separation between them.
We also insist that we should consider our gurus as divine beings. They're human.
They are divine, they're human and they're divine. That's what they're saying here.
Yeah, things like you said, the Baba Bani was like Sukhmi Saji said, right, about Mahapurushana Dikiri Karde, so they are also in the human form, because Baba Bani being all true, so they are the spirits which, there's no difference between them and God, but they are still like human form. So you going back to your question about birth and death, well, God himself is beyond the death and birth, but his spirit, which are that level, are going through exchange. Because he said, I think last week only, Babaji Katha, he said, Babaji has the capacity to make anybody like God like. Anybody, he feels like, choose like. Just say, but another one said to be reaching that stage, we have to, I guess, do a certain amount of things to earn his blessing, God has. Whoever he chooses to do so. So the other
Things
thing
that seem to be separate can both be true. Because we have very linear thinking, God is beyond that. You know, you were giving the example of the particle and wave. It could be a particle or a wave, they're totally different. It doesn't make any logical sense, but a different perspective, they're both true. The same thing applies in the spiritual path.
पर जिन्होंने दसा ना भी रियलाइजेशन तो सीधा दसा ना जिन्हें भी आसुक से यहाँ पर रियलाइजेशन नहीं करते तो वाणी कहते हैं ना मन तो जोत स्वरूप है सब तीन चीज़ों ने बॉडी तो है वो भी देखते हैं मन भी देख लेते हैं कभी कभी मतलब माइंड चेंज कर लिया लेकिन सोल को नहीं देखते वो है कि वो गुरु साहब कहते हैं कि सुप्रीम सोल वाहिगुरु ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੁਪਰੀਮ ਸੋਲ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਸੋਲ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪਾਰਟ ਹੋਵੇ ਕਬੀਰ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਹੋ ਕਬੀਰ ਆਰਾਮ ਕੀਆ ਸੋ ਉਸ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਰਿਅਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੋती नहीं हैगी तब तक ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਲੋਜ਼ ਜਾਣ ਦੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੂਰ ਰਹਿ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਉਸਨੇ ਰਿਅਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਰੂਪ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜੀ ਸਮਝ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾਮਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਆਪ ਕਾ ਸਮਝ ਜਨਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਸਮਝ ਹੁਣ ਪਈ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਥੋੜੀ ਸਮਝ ਪਈ ਗੱਲ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਹੋਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ
Then it goes back to the light, that God is a light, and Guru has a light. Only a lighted soul can help light us, which are unlit. So the presence and the company of the light will show us many things that words cannot explain. How do you tell darkness what is light, right? There's nothing to say. Just like lightning on these, then you cannot explain right? A similar thing, abstract, but still very true. 100% true, but extremely abstract at the same time. So both are counterparts of the same equation.
जन्म जन्म के दुख निवारे सूखा मनसा धारे दर्शन भेटत होत निहाला. It's that darshan is just the touch. Darshan isn't just vision with your eyes. It's the experience. It's you get darshan through the words of Gurbani. That's the darshan. Close your eyes. You're doing something that you feel His love, feel some presence. It's kind of darshan. But the Guru's thing is Guru and God. Darshan भेटत होत निहाला. One is enraptured, full of joy. Nihala and the other one. का नाम विचारे by contemplating the Naam. So this is part of it. This is part of the being the way. That so that Samrat Purak Puran Vidate Ape Karnihara. Samrat is capable of everything. Vidhata is the architect of our destiny. Ape Karnihara is the doer of everything. So like all Shabads, there's a lot of description of God and His attributes. So we have talked before, how do you do Gunagam and every day? Every time you read Gurbani, you are doing that because there's a lot of references to God and His various attributes. So you get in the right frame of mind talking about God. Samrat Purak Puran Vidate Ape Karnihara. When you're singing that, you're singing His praises, you're talking about His glory, and you're also experiencing Him through different aspects of describing His infiniteness and His capability, His omnipotence, His fact that He's the doer of everything. Apna dasa rapavaya Namakara. He Himself saves His devotees by giving them the support of the Naam, so they can depend on the Namadhara. That was like Shabad. Move on to the next one.
There's another Shabad that Satguru Pura Ved hai, Panjero Kasar Pura. Just back to Sikarazi, the 5 vices. So that's more explicit.
Oh,
Satguru Pura Ved hai, Panjero Kasar Pura. So it clears all the 5.
ਅਸੀਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਨੇ ਬਾਣੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਸੇਂਟਸ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਾਬਾ ਫਰੀਦ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹ ਇੰਨੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਐਲੀਵੇਟਡ ਨੇ ਸਪਿਰਚੁਅਲੀ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਹੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਐਪ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੂਰਾ
ਕਾਲੇ ਮੰਡੇ ਕੱਪੜੇ
ਕਾਗਾ
ਬਹੁਤ ਕਾਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਾਲੇ ਮੰਡੇ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਕਾਲਾ ਮੰਡਾ ਵੇਸ ਉਹ ਬਸ
ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਾਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਛੋੜ ਦੇ
ਖਾਇਆ ਮਾਸ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਤੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹ ਇੰਨਾ ਦਰਦਨਾਕ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪਰ ਉਸ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣ ਲੱਗੋ ਤੇ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਕਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਮਾਸ ਕਰਨ ਉਹ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਔਰਗਨ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚ ਵਾਈਸਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਢਣ ਦਾ ਮੀਨਿੰਗ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਵੈਸੇ
ਇਹ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਕਲੀ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਸੱਚਮੁੱਚ ਹੀ ਉਹ
ਸੱਚਮੁੱਚ
ਕੰਮ ਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਪਰ ਵਿਕਾਰਨ
ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਸ ਨੈਣ ਛੋੜ ਦੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਲਾਂ
It's also part of that Vairag, part of love.
That is also Vairag.
साइज बड़ा कर सकते हो
Yeah.
थोड़ा साइज बड़ा कर सकते हो
Yeah,
नहीं font
let's see if it's easy to do the whole thing or not. Problem with this is because it's interleaved the Gurmukhi and the Punjab and the English, and there are different fonts, different sizes, so you have to alternately go each one. Let's see what it does like.
Actually, just adding color is very helpful.
Let's look. Okay, can do that too. But the Punjabi part is visible anyway, right?
ना इंग्लिश में आके पढ़ी
Does that help?
Font 18.
Yes, yes.
18 है।
ठीक
Font size 18 see ना?
Well, it's not, for a certain size, it's not going to work. It's going to auto adjust if I make it more. But it's fitting on the screen. PowerPoint tries to be smart, smarter than you want it to be sometimes. I'm not that familiar with it. Some people are experts at it. So anyway, so he's describing his state in this. He's putting himself in the place of somebody like me, getting old, hair getting white. My hair are getting white. My eyes don't work as well as they used to. Body is getting weaker, and it's harder to talk. Do that kind of stuff. You say, "Ab kya kare? What am I going to do now?" As you get older, you get other diseases or whatever, you know. All you can do is pray to God, come and help me.
Or accept it.
That's
It's part of aging process.
Yeah, but God helps you overcome that also, to accept it also.
Yeah. वो भी उसने मेरे होए ताऊ है ना, वो भी बात उसने भी मेरे होए ताई होए।
Exactly.
बिल्कुल।
And so in this situation, it's only God who's going to be my dad. He's the one who can really help me. Mathe Peer Sarir Jalana. Now he's coming to the interesting part right after this. Kind of gets to what you're saying. Mathe Peer Sarir Jalana. Correct, Kareje Mani. So yeah, my body is weak and everything is hurting, but the real problem is my heart. It's the fact that I'm getting up and I'm getting down. I shouldn't be, you know. Problem is always in the heart. It's the spirit and mind is where the real issues are.
मतलब मन व्यवस्था जो है।
Vyavastha is important. Mathe Peer Sarir Jalana. Correct Kareje Mani. My head aches, my body is burning, it's hurting, but the real anguish is in my heart. ऐसी बेपन परी भुगता का औखद नहीं, because there's no real solution to this pain in the heart. It's the mental issues are the real issue. Vaka. ऐसी बेपन परी भुगता vaka. Usda.
उसदा अच्छा।
Vaka औखद नहीं, of that, of this pain.
What is work?
Va is that. He's referring to the previous thing. This pain that's in my heart, for that there is no solution. Va is Usda कोई solution नहीं. ऐसी बेबल खरीद गई. This is the big pain that has come up. Vaka out and of that there is no solution to it. कितना भी पंजाबी है Vaka is that.
पंजाबी का लगता नहीं पहला ब्रिज होती है ब्रिज भाषा उधर
पर का नाम अमृत है आखिर का सारा. And here is the solution to all these things. It's the real medicine I can take for this is what you can give me, my bad God, which is हर का नाम अमृत जल निर्मल है आखिर का सारा. This is the solution to all disease in the world, both physical, mental, and spiritual disease. This is the medicine for it all. हर का नाम अमृत जल निर्मल. The name of God, which is like the ambrosial nectar like this. कोई प्रसाद कहेगा मन कहेगा लिखन पामा मकवार. So this is the Akhad of Naam is the one that's going to solve all my disease and get me over them. And through God's grace, through the Guru's grace and God's grace, can I obtain salvation from all this Pama Mokdwara, the door to salvation. Very nice Shabad, but basically God is the physician. He's the one you go to solve all the problems, all your diseases, of pain, physical, mental, emotional. And as we've discussed before, its physical disease is affected a lot by your state of mind, and the state of mind is affected a lot by your spiritual state. So it all flows down from that, and reinforces everything else that you can do otherwise.
You just mentioned because because you can request or you can pray God for help. And again, is there a way that is there a particular, maybe there's no way, is there a state of mind, is there a way to request God for his help? You said you can ask God for help, but is there a mode in which one must or should or could ask so that our asking a question can reach to his house in the here and there? Is there something that always says, or is it saying, agar push leta, they pahunch gaya? I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer.
There is actually a question, and the question later on also about this. Maybe we can talk about it a little more. There's like what you should pray for and how you should pray, that kind of thing. But ultimately, it's all in God's hands. You can. Part of it is praying is not so much at asking God for things as leaving things in God's hands, reaching out to Him instead of depending on other things.
There's a shabad which says, He knows without you are trained.
Exactly.
And He needs.
So you don't need to ask Him in that sense.
मतलब स्पेसिफिकली कोई चीज जे ना लेके नहीं कही जाती मतलब because those are materialistic things.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking God for things you need as long as they are innocent things you really need. If you ask for, may I be the richest guy here, or may I win over the other guy, that's probably going to hurt you more than nothing. But asking for basic things, going to God rather than going to someone else, helps you on the path. But the ideal thing is to get beyond that you don't have to ask for anything. And you just pray to Him to give you whatever you need and make you strong enough to accept it. Hukam manna ja rabbana, that's the ultimate thing to pray for. Is to pray for, not that I get everything, but that I accept your hukam and you give me everything that I need because you are my parent, you have to take care of me, I'm going to leave you in your hands. That's kind of where you want to get to, where I want to get to.
Ideally, we shouldn't ask for anything except insight into God's workings.
पर साडी सिख मर्यादा हैगी ना सिख मर्यादा है कि तुहाडे कोई प्रॉब्लम आंदी है तुहाडा कोई घर च बीमार है मतलब तुसी अरदास ही करदे हो तुसी कहंदे चलो जी वाहिगुरू अगे अरदास करने आ मत्था टेकने आ उस दे अगे हाथ जोड़ने फिर उस तो बाद ते पाना है फिर उस तो बाद ते पाना है जे तुसी अरदास भी कीती फिर हुन जे उसकी मर्जी है तो वो भाना फिर तुहानू एक्सेप्ट करना है वो भी फिर अगे असीं अरदास करने कहने भी भाना मनन दा बल बख्श क्योंकि वो भी असीं ह्यूमन बीइंग्स आ साडे विच है नहीं हो कि असीं मन नहीं सकते कि एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते हैं कि भाई नहीं असीं फिर भी चाहते हैं बंदा ठीक हो जाए इससे ठीक हो जाए ते जे उसकी उन्नी लिखी हैगी है तो फिर वो असीं नहीं चेंज कर सकते वो असीं नहीं चेंज कर सकते
मेरे को पुरातन सिंह ना पहला ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੋਸ਼ ਐਵਰੀਡੇ ਰੂਟੀਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖ ਲਿਆ ਸਨ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਰਸਾ ਪਾਠ ਨਾਲ ਆਰਤੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਆਰਤੀ ਦੋਸ਼ ਬਣਾ ਕੀਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਭੂਖੇ ਭਗਤ ਨਾ ਕੀਜੇ ਤੇ ਦੂਜਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਹੈ ਗੋਪਾਲ ਤੇ ਰਾਤਾ ਇਹ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਦਾ ਇਹੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਭੁੱਖਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹ ਲੋ ਖਾਣ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰਾ ਅੰਨ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਅਖੀਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਲੱਗੋ ਕਿ ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਲਾਲਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ ਸਰਨਾ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਮੰਜੀ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆਟਾ ਘਿਓ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਲਾਲਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਤੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਅੱਛਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਨਾਮ ਤੇਰਾ ਮੈਂ ਫੱਬੋ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਮ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਦੇਵੇਂਗਾ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਹਾਰਡ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਭੁੱਖਾ ਬੈਠਾ ਤੇ ਭਗਤੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੜਾ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਪਾਏ
So there's nothing wrong with asking God for this. If you are going to ask for Him, ask for God, don't ask anybody else, ask for Him. But don't be, as you said, don't have greed about it, don't ask for more than you need. The whole point is to get over
पर जे तुसी बाड़ी बंदे हो तो फिर वो तो कहते ना साल पत्थर भी जानते पर उसका आगे नहीं तरिया वो मतलब असी जे उस चीज विच फेथ रखने आ असी वो भी मंगण दी लोड़ नहीं वो जिसने पैदाइश की उसने साडा वो भी इंतजाम किया है असी सोचने कि भी सानू किथों मिलेगा पर इंतजाम अगे होया है
I think this asking was more of connecting back to Him, more than God worldly thing. Although we all know that we need it, which He also knows, He's in us and with that, we have to take care of all of it anyway. How do you kind of get into the line to say, Malik, bless us all so that we can get to wherever you want us to be? Because I don't have the capacity to see what that is. I don't have the eye to see you. when you don't know it, ऐसे देख लेते हो तो ठीक है, we can focus on somebody.
Yeah.
But अगर ये चीज़ नहीं देखी, how do you kind of ask something that you don't? It's only the love and affection, God willing, that we can attain. But to the ultimate stage, so you can only request and say, help us all, get us to wherever that is. Because I don't know what it is. Just like before coming, I don't know where I was. After dying, I don't know where I'm going to go. The same thing along those paths.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not that you have to actually ask for something, but if you just feel it, if you just feel that love inside, then because God already knows what's inside you, right? So I think maybe if you just feel it, then like you can recognize that you have that feeling of separation or you want that, and then it can help you retain it.
This next Shabad gets down to again how do you actually get to how do you get the vat to give you this medicine? How do you actually practice this? Kadis naam samay pravyapna. Oh, so wrong one here.
Yeah.
Kadis naam samay pravyapna manthan bhaya hoga. And this is the secret to it. You bathe in this nectar of God's name, of His presence. And you cleanse yourself of everything of your mind, and as you cleanse your mind of your weaknesses, you cleanse your body also. Your body becomes whole also. You have to start with the mind, the spirit, mind, body. Bravo, sona pado na. This is, I think it's by Chaman Singh. It used to be Chaman Lal.
Jamanga.
I think that's it. I actually recorded some of these from the Amrit Kirtan Viravana and Vivar Saptam. I just record some of the Shabads I like from there. Just live Shabads somehow have more something to them than the ones recorded in the studios you get on the CDs. So I think the meaning is fairly straightforward and it kind of reinforces what the last two shows we talked about. So Karis Nan Sima Prayopna Mantan Bhaya Roga. This is the way your body becomes awake. You have to start with the mind. And good Bani and Nam Simran, you bathe in that, cleanse yourself, and it cleanses both your mind and your body. And the mind is more important, it comes first. You get rid of all the weaknesses in the mind, all the evil thoughts, the 5 diseases you're talking about, before you can really solve what can be effect on your body. Because negative things in your mind produce negative effects on the body. It's going to make it harder for the internal healing power to really work. It's when you overcome some of your mental negativity, is that the mind's ability to heal your body is most effective. So you have to start with the mind and cleanse the mind first.
That can take lifetime. That can take lifetime to get rid of all
That's a whole
those,
process.
because it's not easy. You think you can just say, okay, but it's very hard.
It's a constant struggle.
It's
That's
a
why-
constant struggle.
That's why Gurbani is full of references. There are a lot of martial references in Gurbani, and they always refer to this internal battle against yourself. Surah so Paratani, so on. There are lots of these all over, and they're all about the internal battle. Sur word dini wali aanda na, the brave warriors. The war is internal. The most important war. But he's showing you how to get there is by bathing in the
By doing Sindha.
Karisnan Simar Pradana. That's the way to do it.
Actually, in my experience, or whatever I have knowledge, I say that Sanu Vaheguru Kirpa is not in our hand. He is going to do. So we have to make the pot to get it, and to make the pot means to make your spirits pure. That's the life is for. And किस स्टेज से किसी को किसी उम्र chronological age, physical age, किसी को किसी age से मिलता, किसी को किसी age से मिलता, किसी को वो unprincipled. So our part is to make the part pure, to accept Uzdi Kirpa. So That's what we are doing, and that's what we have to do. और कुछ नहीं करना.
But at the same time, along the way we are experiencing things, why don't we blame person? There's always a lesson in it. ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ, maybe ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ lesson ਹੈ. ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਿਕਾਰ ਆ ਜਾਣੇ ਸੀ. maybe ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਚਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੇ ਉਨਾ ਹੀ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਚ ਸੰਤੁਸ਼ਟ ਰਹੋ.
ਦਿੱਤਾ what? ਦਿੱਤਾ
ਮਤਲਬ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ material things ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਨ ਦੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ. ਮਤਲਬ struggle ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਈ ਲੋਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੁੱਖ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਦੂਸਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਨ. ਮੇਬੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਗਰੀਬੀ ਵੇਸ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਸਗੋਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਨਾ ਸਿੰਪਲਿਸਿਟੀ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ. ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਕਰਪਸ਼ਨ ਘੱਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਘੱਟ ਦੌੜਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ they get closer to God because of that reason. So ਉਹ ਅਵਸਥਾ create ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ these are some of the lessons that we go through in life. ਕਿ ਭਈ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਇੱਕ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਉਸ ਦਿਨ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਵਾਕ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਫਿਸ ਜਾਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਵਾਕ ਇੰਨਾ ਲੰਬਾ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਲਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਫਿਰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਇਹੀ ਸੋਚ ਲੈਣਾ ਕਿ ਮੇਬੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਠਹਿਰ ਜਾ, ਅਜੇ ਨਿਕਲ ਨਾ ਬਾਹਰ, ਅਜੇ ਰੋਡ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਜਾ, you know. So maybe you look at it from that point of view ਕਿ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਰ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ, ਮੇਬੀ ਉਹ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਸਿਗਨਲ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੋਰ ਟਾਈਮ ਨਿਕਲ ਜਾਏ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਨਿਕਲ ਬਾਹਰ. ਸੋ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਤਲਬ you can take it positively, you can take it negatively ਕਿ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਲੇਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਵਾਂਗਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਝ. ਉਸ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹੀ ਸੋਚ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਮੇਬੀ ਲੰਬਾ ਵਾਕ ਆਇਆ ਤੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਲੱਗੇਗਾ, 5-7 ਮਿੰਟ ਲੇਟ ਨਿਕਲੋਗੇ, ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਕੋਈ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋਣਾ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਸੀ ਰਸਤੇ 'ਚ.
Ultimately everything is hukum. What we think of as good and bad is not always not good and bad in God's eyes. So he often knows better than we do as to what we think.
He always
knows better than we say.
But I think going back to the same, because there's so many things to remove, right? Plus a lot more beyond that. So if you करके बंदा करे, it will be very hard, right?
Yeah.
There's no way of removing them.
No.
So there's going to the same example that they give about walking in the dark room. साप पे या वो किल पे या की पे या पूरे के अंदर कुछ नहीं है. जब अगर बत्ती ना चली जाती है, one light, everything vanishes. So Baba, your naam is like that, right? जिससे नाम आ गया, then everything will just disappear. So there's nothing to worry because the light, you don't worry in light. वो अंधेरा अंदर ही गया, जब तक वो अंधेरे बत्ती नहीं जगती तब तक खाना लगता पता नहीं कितने फंसे हुए हैं, which we are.
पर कई बार ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਇਹ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੰਧੇਰਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਲਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਦਿਖਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਕਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਿਓ, I think there's nothing better than being in the dark.
That dark is different.
That darkness is
different than the other.
sometimes so blissful.
But that's not darkness, that's light. That's light. This is not dark.
मतलब ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ, ਤਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਸੁਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਤੇ ਉਹ that is actually a boon to be in that stage.
No, अज्ञान का अंधेरा कह रहे हैं. This is अज्ञान का.
नहीं, I understand what you said. I think
No, you're right. वो कि अगर सुबह 4 बजे या 3 बजे बंदा उठ के then you feel it, उसका मजा अलग है. और 10 बजे करो वही चीज़, उसका मजा अलग है. It's different. Yeah.
So let's quickly go through the Shabad itself. So Karis Nan Simar Prayavapna Mantam Bhai Roga. So as you are saying, you completely immerse yourself in God's name and do Snan in it, do Nam Simran, feel His presence, just totally soak yourself in it. Mantam Bhai Roga, it's going to cleanse your mind, and through that it's going to cleanse your body and make it free of disease as well. Man and Tan are both going to be made free of disease. And I focus on I like this cook, and I focus on the fact that man comes before tan, so I have to work on the man first. Tan aap ho jayega. Quote Bighan Late Prabh Sarma, Prakte Bhale Sanjoy. And not only this disease, but all your obstacles are removed through Ram Simran. Prakte Bhale Sanjoy, and good fortune dawns. Through Ram Simran, everything is going to fall in place. But Vani Shabads Bhakya. So this beautiful Vani is the word of God itself. Prabhu ki Vani hai ye, Shabads Bhakya. This is the Shabad. This is the best of all things you can say, Subhakya. Gavo Sono Padonit Bhai. Sing it, read it, listen to it. So there are many different dimensions to it. That's why it's important to listen to Simran, to do part, Ram Simran. There are many different ways to come at it and not reinforce each other. Okay. Whatever works best for you, but come at it in as many ways as you can, as long as it's God's word. Gavo Sono Padonit Bhai, good Pure Tu Rakya, and the perfect Guru shall save you. Bhai is translated by him as siblings of destiny, so there's something interesting to it in those translations. But we all know Bhai is calling everybody, he's just referring to us as Bhai. Sacha Sahib Umit Vadayu Bhagat Pichal Dayala, again he's talking in the end about God's glory, talking to him as Sacha Sahib. Your glory is beyond any measure. Bhagat Pichal Dayala, and take care of your devotees. That is one of his main characteristics. Dayala is the merciful one, is lover of the devotees. Sant ki parinda aya aadmi. Now we talked last time about the word Sant. It has a very broad meaning, all the way from Guru and the perfect person to all those who are on this path. You can refer to them as Sadhu and Sangat, but those who are close to God, those who are devotees, God always takes care of the bhagats. And this is his birad. Birad is characteristic of nature. This is God's birad. Gurbani almost says it like he can't help himself. He has to do it. This is like his duty, that he takes care of his devotees. This is his birad. He will do it. Almost like a duty.
कहने में बुढ़ करी मरा स्वभाव बन गया बुढ़ करी मरा स्वभाव जिन्हों मर्जी रोक लो जिस बंदे ने काम करना है कोई कहना तू बड़ा दानी है हाँ क्यों दान करी जाता वो जो मर्जी रोक लो उन्हें दान करना ही करना जिन्हें प्यार करना हो तो दुश्मन वाली प्यार करे सो गुरु आपकी नेचर है
nature, right? मतलब God's nature.
Yeah. This is what he says here. That's his nature.
Okay. मैं कथा सुनी सी पंडित बासन जी he's doing कथा में दास it's a bit की badge. मतलब keeping that nature, that the way he is, that he takes care of his bhagats and keeping that nature.
Next show is also a request from somebody.
पूरा करना है पूरा नहीं आशा पीछे वाला एक
Oh yeah, right. It was too long slides. Yeah, that's right. Oh, okay. Amrit Naam Bhojan. You're right. It's the second page. Amrit Naam Bhojan में पहुँचो सर्व वेला पाओ. So at all times, take in this nourishment of Vani and Naam. This is like a nourishing thing. Instead of just like you need food, you need this also. This is going to nourish you spiritually. Amrit Naam Bhojan mein pahuncho. So every day partake of this food. This is like a nourishment. Spiritually you can't live without it. You're going to die spiritually. This is what really makes you live spiritually. Sarv vela mukh pao. Constantly at all times put it in your mouth. Like food in your mouth here, of course you're going to put it in your mind and your ears, but basically take this nourishment. Jara mara taap samnata. Ungo benjao. So as you sing God's praises all the time, Jara mara. Jara is old age, death, taap is disease and fever. All of these will go away. You overcome all these things. You overcome death itself. It doesn't mean you don't die physically, but spiritually you don't die. You overcome that cycle and you overcome the fear of it. You realize that you are immortal, so you stop feeling that you're going to die, so it's not death for you anymore.
This is certainly a good font, good size.
Because there are lesser lines on this page. I have to manually adjust them because जरा हमारा ताप संगाठा गुम गोविंद गाओ सुनी अरदास स्वामी मेरे सर्व कला बनियाई. And he's saying God has heard my prayer and everything works out for me. And everything that I want is taken care of. Pragat bhai sabne jugantar Guru Nanak ki badiyaai. And this is how he feels that he sings this, like the glorious greatness of the Guru is manifested through all the ages. Now I have seen this translated differently than he has done here. I have seen it where Nanak is the signature and the Guru is the word in that Guru ki badiyaai. Nanak says Guru ki badiyaai pragat bhai. That makes more sense, I think.
Guru Granth Sahib 18ਵੀਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਵਰਡ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਾਥ ਰੱਖੇ.
Both ways it works. For me it works.
God knows. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ
Because Guru is like God anyway, so it doesn't matter if you believe that.
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਡੀਓ ਚਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੇਨ ਸਥਾਈ ਵੀ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਕੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ.
Maybe we should go on to the questions. We'll repeat the remaining Shabads for next time. So let's take a very short 5-minute break and then we'll start with the questions that we have.